Fa la 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 la.
'Tis the season to be jolly.
To be Charlie? To be Charlie or Jolly?
Listen, there's only one person that can be Charlie. One's enough.
Yeah, that's it. How are we? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, mate.
Merry Christmas-ish.
As things? Good.
It's been an above average week.
Above average.
What about yourself, Tom? What about you?
Charlie?
Oh, it's been good, mate. It has been good. Yeah, I've been busy. Like, I like being busy, and like obviously it's the big man's coming in a couple of weeks, so all hands on deck. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe we're nearly another year down. Like it's quite scary when you think about it.
It's mad, mate. It's gone very quick this year.
It's gone too quick, to be fair.
I'm already getting abuse. Already, it's nice to be back. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Cheers.
We've got Mr. Wakazashi's tea house. He hasn't been in for ages. How are you doing? Nice of you to join us, Gray. So it's been a pretty busy week. It's been cold, man. Like I've literally had no heating in my house since Monday. So the boiler broke, the gas meter went, and then they decided not to come round until yesterday to fix it. So for 3 days we had no heating or anything. So
is that why you went for 8 pints of Guinness last night?
Yeah, that's why I went for a skinful, and I woke up wearing. Definitely warmed me up, and the curry was nice as well. So yeah, it was all good. I'm looking forward to sitting down, chilling. It's been a fantastic week. The two comics, or the one comic that I read. Yeah, the one comic that I read this week out of the 4 that we chose from. It was it was good. But I can't. Yeah, well, we'll get into that. But who we got in the chat? We got Streambot. He's always here. I think he's here more than Connie is.
I don't know.
I don't know. We've got Connie, we've got Gray, and we've got Man Like Triple G. Thank you again for stepping in last week, sir. Always a pleasure to have you. So yes, and then we've got that's it. I think there's going to be a lot of people out on Christmas parties, out on the piss and everything this week. So it might just be a relaxed and mellow show.
Quite mellow show.
No, it won't. No, it fucking won't.
Quality over quantity. That's the way I look at it.
There we go. So, have we got any pickups? Has anyone got any pickups? I haven't got nothing this week because it's been -6 and I haven't been able to get out of the door because it snowed for one day and the world ended in London. So that was it.
I don't have any comics, but I do have some cards that I've been picking up.
Are they out the phone box?
HSBC, MasterCard, American
exactly,
Express.
Yeah. The odd phone card, cigarette cards and stuff like that. Yeah. No, these are jock cards.
Obviously.
So these are very early artwork.
Shakespeare.
Jock done. So this is a character called Tor Miraborg. I think this was actually one of the first characters that, and this was going back to 1997. So this is very early jock artwork, and I've been picking these up and trying to complete the collection. So these are BattleTech cards, and there's also some Dread, the TCG, like the card game, and you can see that I got that one signed. So that's one of the ones I had before that I took to Thought Bubble last year.
Yeah,
but I've been trying to pick up the rest of them now. I've went in a bit of a rabbit hole for trading cards. That was my first love before comics.
You must have been created more rabbit holes than Alice in Wonderland.
You've no idea, the stuff that is up in that attic, which is pretty much all frozen at the minute, given the weather that we've got. But
you know what you should do? You should just let it go.
Can we get out? Yeah. Nice.
I don't like this. Hold on, wait a minute. This is awkward. Nah,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
I picked this bad boy up. Cool. This is Todd McFarlane artwork from 1995.
Oh wow, old school.
This is the Prophet Unleashed. I can't afford the comic that he done of that. But just to let everybody know, and I haven't even mentioned this to the guys, but I actually picked up 2 of these, okay? And one's going to be a giveaway tonight. So if we can run the StreamYard giveaway jobby thingy bob. And anybody that's in the chat who is commenting, I will stick that in the post to you if you win, and also whatever free comics that are lying about, I'll stick those in as a little Christmas treat for you. So,
all right, sweet.
Oh, mate, the man that keeps on giving.
Merry Christmas.
Lovely.
That's me, guys. That was it.
Tom, have you got anything?
I do actually, and to be fair, I'm annoyed about these, but yet still quite happy they've come. But so I stopped retailing with Not Quite Mint probably when February, would we say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, these finally arrived.
Oh, no way! There's a blast in the past.
So these are the book plates that are supposed to come with Snow Angels.
Lovely.
A few of you guys bought them from me. They arrived this week, ironically, in the snow when the Royal Mail aren't able to deliver anything. These turn up, signed both by Jeff Lemire and Jock. So those of you who bought one from me, Andy and Charlie, I know you both have one. Could you please reach out? Because I cannot for the life of remember who's bought what, and I no longer own the rights to Not Quite Mint's website, so I can't go and get them, the order forms. So if you could just drop me a DM to let me know who I owe these to, I'll get them sent out to you in the new year as quick as possible, because you guys have waited way longer than you should have for them.
I think I like how you've planned it though, because you've done it. You waited until it snowed to then get it. So I think that's strategically perfectly planned.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I totally plan to do that. And then my other pickup, every time I go to Cornwall, and I meant to share this last week actually. Every time I go to Cornwall, I go to this lovely little shop called the Edge of the World Bookshop, and it's a lovely little shop. It's a lovely, like, proper quaint little bookshop, like privately owned, independent job. And they've got these lovely art, like sketchbooks. And this is the My Friend Totoro from the Studio Ghibli.
Oh, wicked!
You can't really see the quality of the book itself, but it's like a fabric, and then the characters etched in, like it's been kind of sketched in, if you like. It's a really good paper as well, which I like. So look out for my next set of drawings that will be coming in the new year. I'll be doing it.
Tom, can you give the spine a little rub again, just the way you did before? Oh, thanks.
You done now.
Lovely pickup. Who's next? Charlie, do you not have anything?
I haven't got anything. No, I haven't been out. I haven't got a thing. But yeah, it's good.
I think Tom's forgot his most recent pickup, which was his new internet provider, which as it stands at the minute is absolutely 1080p.
Yeah. Well, yes, I probably should have said I've got a brand new internet provider. If I do cut out, I apologise.
No, look sparkling. You should refer Charlie to whoever you got it with.
No, look, hold on. Right, I've got the same webcam as you, and for some reason, when I go on to 720, it just doesn't work. So I have to sit in 480. But I think I'd break the internet if I put on myself in HD. I don't want to do that. So
I think a lot of hearts would cry.
I think a lot of hearts would cry. Yeah, and mirrors would break.
Are you drinking anything tonight, Charlie? Or are you just resting?
No, I'm just literally resting. The amount of Guinness I consumed last night, I don't need to put my body through that again.
And Tom, I take it are you on call this evening?
I am, mate. Yes, I am.
You are. So I'm the only one that's drinking then?
Yeah.
A little cheeky London drink. This is Beavertown.
Beavertown.
Look at the artwork on this can. It is stupendous.
Do you know what? I really love a lot of these can designs now. There's some really clever ones out there. Have you seen, is it the Northern Monk? They do some great can artwork.
Well, I think, was it the Northern Monk that worked with Thought Bubble?
Yes. Yeah. They were there this year. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done the Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Done Judge Dredd last year, and I think it was Tulalote can that they've done this year. I could be wrong, but yeah, very good.
There we go. See, hearts would cry and eyes would bleed. See, I know my dawn in public. There we go. So anyway, talking about like fantastic faces and good looks and everything, shall we Business end. So unfortunately, Andy wasn't here last week, but he still managed to ring in 762 votes from the show, and he in the last minute or so.
Listen, those bots.
I was robbed. I was actually robbed.
That algorithm knows a good cover. AI generated bots are the way forward.
I'm calling it a robbery because last week I was winning by quite a big margin, and then somebody in the comments mentioned that your bots weren't running. Then suddenly, wham! I'm in third place.
My bots weren't running.
But this is how competitive it gets, because it's been quite good. This is an enjoyable part of the show that is also the business end of the show that gets quite serious.
It could lead to divorce, though.
I'm just
it
glad
could be the end of the Killer Comedy Show.
It could. So obviously this is the killer covers for December 14th, which was yesterday, new comic book day. We've picked some free absolute beauties. Up first.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I thought we were saving the best till last, Charlie.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
Trash out of the way first.
So I went for Grimm issue number 6, and this cover is anything but grim, lads. This is cover H by Jenny Frison. That's Jenny Frison, and this is a variant cover A. There's also a black and white cover of this. I think it's like a 1 in 50 or a 1 in 100. But this is spectacular. I was happy that it didn't have any like flowers or. Because a lot of the Jenny's work at the minute seems to sort of be like poison ivy stuff, that sort of stuff. But I think again we see it. It was in this case, it's not the eyes, it's the eye that drew me into this particular cover, and it's just fantastic. The skull, the hands are perfectly proportioned, the color, everything about this just screams. This is a top cover pick for this week.
Are you still reading this?
Grimm? No.
Yeah. I'm still reading it, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I've got 2 vibes from this comic cover. 1, Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And 2, Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah.
Because I think she did a similar thing to this. Like Jenny Frison, I think now she's kind of doing similar poses, and I'm so glad that she's got her hands better, because there was a Catwoman one that she did and her hands were just all over the place.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and they look so big. But this is a great cover. If this is like, I got issue number 1, the foil variant, and I got a sent off to CGC, and I got a 9.8 and stuff, and it looked fantastic as a foil. If this is a foil, I'd be all over this, because it's wicked. Like, them colours just look awesome.
If only the eye was foil.
Yeah,
I think that would be pretty cool as well. Yeah. I would like to see Jenny doing more superhero artwork. She's obviously done X-Men, which was fantastic, but a lot of the stuff's sort of been indie based.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, Jenny Frison is one of the best artists out there. So this was my color cover of the week, guys.
Tom,
I like it, mate. I think it's really good. Like you said, though, it's a little bit like she's done this plenty of times, but then I can't say anything because all the artists I pick have always done the same old stuff, which you'll see shortly. But like, this is beautiful, mate. I do really like this, and I really think, like Charlie said, if this was a foil cover, this would really catch your eye on the shelf. It is an eye-catching piece of artwork. It's absolutely stunning, and my thing that I point out about it is I like the blend between the skull and the human face, and how she's done so well of blending the two together. So like with the mouth, you still got the essence of the teeth underneath of the skull and the bone, which I think is really clever. She is an amazing artist. I mean, you can't knock her for that.
Well, out of everything, Tim loves her hairy fingers. It feels like a cover he can relate to.
Yeah, man. Wow. I can relate to those hairy fingers. Tim's hairy fingers. It's in them.
What happens in Thought Bubble stays in Thought Bubble.
There we go. Right, so that's Andy's cover pick. Tom, I think this was a no-brainer for you this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate.
Did you pick a J. Scott Campbell picture?
Did you pick a Spawn cover?
To be fair, I mean, what was I going to do? It's always if J. Scott's going to be in there, I'm always going to pick J. Scott. It's kind of a no-brainer. So this week I've gone for J. Scott Campbell's cover F for the Batman Spawn series, which has come out this week, and hopefully we'll review it next week. I picked this obviously because it's J. Scott Campbell, but secondly, I picked it because I've not really seen J. Scott Campbell do Batman that often. I think he did Dark Knight 2, possibly. I've not seen that many versions of him doing Batman, and I loved it. I just thought what he's got is quite a gritty kind of animated style Batman, like a Disney style Batman with Spawn in the background. You can't say it's like an amazing, the best Batman ever, or like a really quality Batman, but this is I would say it's like an animated Batman, and I really like Japanese manga and anime and stuff. So this really screamed out to me. I was like, that's awesome. I love what he's done with Spawn and Batman. And I love that Spawn's like slightly over proportion with his massive latissimus dorsi muscle at the back. It's like, it's huge.
It's kind of the same as Batman's left leg and knee, which is
yeah.
If you look sideways, it kind of looks like a bottom.
Yeah. It's like all the muscle structures. It's amazing. And I love the blend with the capes, with the bats, and then going into the hell demons at the top. I thought that was really clever.
The grim cover looks like a bit like Noel Fielding. The capes are great on this. Then the last third sky, great composition. There we go. It is a fantastic cover. It is a fantastic cover, Tom. Simon said, "Oh, I do love me a Campbell, but prefer his girls more." So does he.
Yeah.
Batman Spawn has stunning artwork and rather a bizarre story. Hey, it's Todd writing, so what you gonna do? I really like this, and it's a card stock as well, so it's gonna be good quality. No, I like this.
I'll be banging mine straight off to CGC.
Yeah, I like this a lot, very, very much so. So yeah, great pick, Tom. I have gone for Wonder Woman 794 cover B by Jen Bartel variant cover. I like. Do you know what? I love myself a Jen Bartel cover. Like, I really do. Do you know what? I think I'm a lover of the thick artwork, like the thick defined lines and stuff like that, because John Boy Mayers does it. J. Scott Campbell does it. Jen Bartel does it. This is just. I'm going to go and buy this cover and send it straight up to CGC along with the She-Hulk #1 that she did. Because she did the She-Hulk #1. I think it was a yellow background in the She-Hulk, or it might have been a green. But yeah, I do like this. I do like Jen Bartel.
Do you know what I like about this one, mate? Is that with the covers like Jen Bartel and David Nakayama do, when there's no background, you have nowhere to hide with kind of artwork error. So, like, literally, you've got nothing else to draw your eye apart from the fact that she's in a really good pose and she's drawn really well. And she's done amazing with the colors and how she's made the leather look like leather and then the metal look like metal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's incredible. And then if you take the background out, like you said, you've got nowhere else to look apart from those amazing details. And she just smashed it, really, mate. I love it. I think it's great. Good cover. Good pick.
I was rude because I didn't let Andy say what he was going to say. So.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Go on, Andy.
Less Batman, more Spawn. That's what I would like J. Scott Campbell to do. I think his composition of Spawn is absolutely stunning, and I would have loved this as a full page spread. See if he'd have done like 8 Spawn covers and dropped them on his website, I would have been all over them regardless of the price. I love the bats, and I love the way that he split it into the 3 different layers. You get the sky, you've got Spawn, and then you've got Batman. So I think this is a class cover.
For a lot of people, Spawn was their introduction to comics and stuff. I've never really, never really read it and everything, but I think I would get into it because it's Batman and Spawn. So my thing would be Batman and Spawn. But it's the
original Batman Spawn comic isn't that great. It's not the greatest of stories. Spawn's became a bit of an institution for a lot of people. It's like the Judge Dredd of comics.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, Andy. You know the original Batman Spawn? Did you know there's 2?
Yes. Yeah.
I was just going to say, because not a lot of people know there's 2. A lot of people have only read the one written by Todd McFarlane, which isn't that great.
The other one is fantastic. Yeah, because Batman gets... Or is it Spawn? No, Spawn gets the Batarang right in the
Batarang dead in his face, and then they continue that in the story, in this Spawn story, and it's like, hold on a minute, why is Spawn suddenly now got a split down his face and these kind of cross stitches, all to do with that Batman Spawn issue?
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it's good. Sorry, we digressed.
That's all right. Go on, Andy. Onto this fantastic cover, please, mate.
Now, I was surprised when you picked this cover, to be honest with you, Charlie.
Really?
It felt like a filler cover, if I'm honest. It felt like you didn't have enough time to choose a cover, and you kind of went like that, and then pointed at your screen and went, right, lads, that's the one I'm going to go for. It looks as if she's went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. Look at the nose. That nose looks as if it's been punched 3 or 4 times, and it's broken. 2 or 3 times. I love Jen Bartel's work. This isn't
clearly,
I just think
clearly
this is just a bit boring. And Charlie, you need to try a lot better.
Do you know what? It's what I like. So I kind of.
I'm joking. Love you.
I'm a simple man. I've gone for no. I do really like this, and I have seen this in person, and it does look better in person. But I really like it, and nothing's going to deter me from that.
I like it.
Are you going to get this in a 9.8?
Yeah, I will do. I hope so.
Yeah, I'll get you a 9.8 of this just to wish you Merry Christmas.
I might just literally. Well, it's too late now. I can't get it on Slab Crusaders. It's a bit too late now. But I will. I'll have to do it myself. So yeah, so they're the covers. So we've got mine and we've got Tom's as well, and then we've got Andy's.
That is class.
No, I'm only joking. No, we have got. It does look a bit like Noel Fielding, don't you think?
It does now. I can't unsee that now.
That's it.
Ready, steady, bake.
There we go. Right, so I'm literally just going to get the poll going. Who wins cover of the week this week? And then we can get onto the review of the comics. Andy, while I just literally sit here and think, choose my life choices. Andy, Tom, and Charlie. Right, the vote's live. Cast your votes. There we go. Right, so yeah, there are 4 covers, 3 covers even. And let's get into some comics. But before we do, we've got our man like Tim, aka the Hobgoblin. He's got a few shows coming up, hasn't he, Andy?
He has indeed. Hobgoblin Hideaway, arguably the best provider of comics this side of America, I would say. We're obviously good friends with Lucy and Tim, and we've been on a few of these claim sales, and the quality of the packaging that they're sent, you can tell that you're part of the Hobgoblin family, and I would like to urge everybody to go and take a quick snapshot of the bottom right hand side. That'll take you to the Facebook group. And if you go and join there's about 1,300 people, I think, in the Facebook group at the minute. But as far as I'm concerned, there should be 1,300 more, just to get the opportunity to buy some of the great comics that he brings. So yes, he has a couple of shows coming up. December 18th, he has a Vought show, which is a Christmas special. There'll be some Christmas giveaways on this particular show, so make sure that you check that out. Hopefully in the new year, the 3 of us will do a bit of a Vought spotlight to show you what the app's all about. Maybe try and see if we can get someone from Vought to come on and have a chat, and maybe get some sellers to come on and discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly about the app. Probably more importantly, I would say, arguably more importantly, we have Friday the 30th of December at 7:30 is the end of year stock blowout. I think this is going to be special. So for everybody who gets their Christmas money from Santa Claus and you're wondering, where the hell am I going to spend it? This is going to be the place to be. So make sure that you come and join the Hobgoblin Hideaway Facebook group. You can also find them on hobgoblins.hideaway on Instagram. And he also has a website, hobgoblinhideaway.co.uk. So we would urge everybody who's watching live or who's watching on the replay to go check the guys out.
And obviously, like, people are going to think that we're biased because we're good friends with Tim and Lucy and stuff. But if you just look at Martin's comment, went on Vought to see Hobgoblin and now I'm hooked. That's exactly what it is. Like, by far, one of the best, if not the best seller on Vought for comics. Like, I'm not just being biased because he's my mate. There's standards to this game. There's levels to this game, and I don't think hardly anyone's there yet, other than Tim and Lucy. On Vought, on Facebook. I think it's just the whole setup of it, the whole interaction and everything.
I think those guys are the bar. They've set the bar on Vought, on claim sales, and everybody's kind of looking up to aspire to those guys. So yeah, as I said, we are biased. We are friends with them. We do want to support them, but I think they've proven, if they had to prove anything, that they have quality comics, and their packaging, their pricing, all that good stuff is absolutely spot on. Tom, you've ran a shop before. What do you think of the guys in the Hobgoblin Hideaway?
Mate, you can't take anything away from them. They're probably one of the best, if not the best shop in the UK, hands down. I mean, Tim doesn't necessarily get any like new comics from, you know, like regular stuff and previews and stuff. But if he hasn't got it, he'll try and get it for you. He's one of those kind of guys. I mean, if you phoned up or even emailed them over on Hobgoblin's Hideaway and said, look, I'm looking for this particular book. Here's my price range. Tim would even go out and try and find it within that price range for you. It might not be the grade you want, but he'll find it within the price range or budget you have. He's very fair with his prices as well. But yeah, like I said, coming from a owning a shop, Tim and Luce go above and beyond what most shops do. I mean, what I even did, they massively go above and beyond.
There we go. Look, this is like the shout out show to Hobgoblin's Hideaway. Not to mention Tim and Luce, they're genuinely lovely people too. Not a person comes into the claim shows or the VOD chats without being greeted and remembered. See, that's it. Like I think now, as I said, there's levels to this game. There's ways that you do things, and they're just doing it. The bar's been set, and yeah, that's it. But Tom, I've got a question for you, Tom. Right? If you still had Not Quite Mint, do you think you would be getting onto VOD and whatnot and the claim sales and everything like that?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I mean, that was my biggest mistake with Not Quite Mint, was not jumping on the live claim sales early enough. And then obviously I made the mistake of going down the route of doing regular orders and not having regular customers with like standing orders, just because nobody necessarily wanted to do standing orders with me. Or I didn't offer it. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, but like you said, they've set the bar, but they keep pushing that bar higher. And I think that's amazing. They're like paving the way for everybody else. I mean, what absolute legends.
Indeed. Absolutely, indeed. So yeah, scan them, check them out. I think we'll show the slide at the end of the show as well, so anyone that joins in later can kind of jump on it, scan the barcode and get sent to where you've got to get to, and have a fantastic Christmas blowout and spend all your hard-earned cash the day before you go out and spend it on booze New Year's Eve. So why wouldn't you do that? Anyway, so there were 4 comics chosen by us and for us to review this week, and the 2 that won, I think it was way out there, was obviously Do A Powerbomb, the final issue number 7, the final one, and we've got All Against All issue number 1, both from Image Comics. Again, the Do A Powerbomb was a Spawn variant cover, which Tom, I think you picked for your cover of the week last week, didn't you?
And I was robbed, absolutely robbed afterwards
at the last minute. So yeah, obviously we've got these 2 comics. Up first, we have All Against All issue number 1, written by Alex Paknadel, and art by Caspar Wijngaard. This was out last week, December 7th. We've got the main cover by Caspar Wijngaard, cover B by the fantastic Sean Phillips variant cover. We've got the 1 in 25 Martin Simmons variant, and we have an Ivan Teo variant cover as well. Who wants to take this away? Andy?
First of all, I really like the Ivan Teo cover. That's the first time I've seen that cover. So yeah, that's pretty spectacular as well. I'm happy enough to take this one away. I think I had All Against All as one of my indie picks to look forward to. And the premise of it sounded absolutely fantastic. I was really looking forward to this. The premise reads, in All Against All, it is the distant future. Earth is long gone, but a race of alien conquerors known as the Operators preserved its most savage animals in an artificial jungle environment they barely understand. With no bodies of their own, the Operators move from world to world, harvesting bodies for the organic exosuits they use to wage endless wars. And I thought that sounds right up my street. It kind of gave me like Alien vibes about it. Now, I read this first, and then I read Do A Powerbomb, okay? And I don't know if you guys feel the same, but depending on which comic you read first, you can't help but compare both. So I think any comic that was going to come up against Do A Powerbomb wasn't going to fare well, because you were going to compare it to one another. So if we sort of keep that to the side and just look at this as a standalone comic, I found this a really, really challenging comic to get stuck into. The premise that was set up for me didn't play out in the 32 pages that were in the comic book. It was. I'd be Tom. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this. But I actually thought about you when I was reading this, because I found some of the words that were used in this and some of the sort of dialogue really challenging. And it was one of those things where I had to go back 2 or 3 times and go, what was that word? What was that sentence? And what does that mean? It almost felt like Alex, the writer, had some sort of like, I don't know, like degree in this sort of stuff. Or he had a big encyclopedia and he was just like picking out words that didn't need to be used because it was really hard to understand, which after maybe getting halfway through the book, I felt myself kind of using it against it and going, well, if I don't understand these words and they're going to use all these big words that I don't understand, then I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
And I started losing a bit of interest in the second half. Once I'd read this issue, I sort of looked back on it and thought, what actually happened apart from the last page? And it felt like it was a huge setup issue. And I don't know how many issue ones can afford to be a setup issue and can afford to use so many intricate sentences and big words and still not introduce you to the main characters and their backstory, because I still don't know what these characters are doing and why they're there. However, I did enjoy the artwork. The artwork was probably something that kept me most intrigued about the book. I think Caspar did an absolutely fantastic job in interpreting the world that Alex was trying to convey. Will I read issue number 2? Do you know what? I probably would. I don't know if it's necessarily one that we would pick for the show, but I'm that intrigued to find out what is happening, because I was so lost by the end of the first issue that I feel like I owe it to myself to read another 32 issues just to clear up some of the misunderstandings that I might have had. But I've got my dictionary ready for all these words that I didn't understand. So that was me. That's what I thought.
Tom?
Okay. So first off, massive hats off to Caspar Wijngaard. I mean, what an incredible artist. And as Andy said, this is probably the only reason I managed to read all of the entire book is because of the artwork. I found it, relatively easy to follow in the artwork way. I kind of knew what was going on. I kind of made up my own story halfway through the book, if I'm honest, because I got to the point where I couldn't be asked to read the dialogue anymore because I didn't know who was who. I couldn't work out what the end goal was or what they were doing or what the idea is of what they're doing. I didn't even realize there'd been a flash forward either. I didn't realize we'd started in the past and then flash forward into the future. And then I felt like they introduced far too many characters and then far too many complexities, like so many layers. And like Andy said, it felt like a bit of a layup issue. And for a first issue, do you really want to do a layup issue for your first issue? Because I definitely won't be reading issue 2 because I don't care enough to read issue 2. And I found it very hard to read when it wasn't like following the artwork. When it came to the dialogue, it was a bit too much for me because, like Andy said, I felt like I needed a thesaurus or some kind of dictionary by me, and it was just a real hard struggle to read. So like, and then going and reading some of the words and being like, I don't know what that means. Then having to Google it and then going back to the book and be like, I don't even know like now I know what it means. It's not even in the right context. Like it doesn't seem to be in the right place. Like I don't understand. And
it felt like a chore, didn't it? Yeah, it felt like a bit of a chore.
Definitely. I literally felt like I've just read a thesaurus or like some kind of dissertation from somebody about their intelligence on
it was like a lecture. It was like you come back to uni days, you were sitting in a lecture.
But you know what gets me a little bit, and I'm not taking away from the guy who wrote the book. I mean, he's obviously a very intelligent man, but what I really hate about people that are superior or think they're superiorly intelligent, that they will throw big words into books to be like, hey, look, I'm really clever. Look how clever I am. Well, yes, you may be clever, but you've just lost literally 90% of your audience with being a clever dick. Because now no one really wants to read issue 2 because no one knows what's happened in issue 1. No one understands what happens in issue 1. And it just annoyed me. But then the saving grace out of the whole thing is the artwork. It is stunning. And it's like it really engages you into the story that you can understand. Like the bear and the gorilla fighting, totally understood that what was going on there.
Yeah.
When the monster comes out running at him and he blows his face off, totally understood what was going on there. Any of the other bits in between? Nah, not a chance. Not a Scooby-Doo, mate. So I would personally say this is an absolute binner for me, and I will not be reading issue 2, even if it gets voted for. So there, mic drop. Charlie, what do you think?
I totally agree with both of what you said. I literally got about 6-7 pages in and was like, "You've lost me." Like you're throwing words that you've literally just picked out of a thesaurus. I have no idea what you're talking about, and I ended up just enjoying Caspar Wijngaard's art instead of reading it. I was literally flicking through, looking at the art instead of reading the comic. I have no idea what this was about. I've got no interest what this was about. I've got no interest in reading the next issue. I was really looking forward to it as well, because based on the premise of it, it's totally not what the story is about. Like the story and the premise don't match up. It's like they're two different entities. One's talking about something else and the comic is portraying something totally different. It just totally lost me. And I kind of read it once and I was like, oh, maybe I was tired, and I read it again. And I read it again today and I was like, no, I'm even more confused than I was when I first read it. The art is fantastic. The art's fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong, the art is fantastic. And that image of the gorilla ripping open the bear's mouth is what Godzilla does. I think, no, King Kong does in one of the films, in the first King Kong film, where he gets hold of the one of the dinosaurs and rips it open. So I thought that was quite a good, like, Easter egg and stuff. But the story's just, I don't get it. Like, and if anyone in the chat has read it, I know Connie hasn't read it yet, and if we're spoiling it, we do apologise. But I was so confused. I'd love to know what it was about.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when we read We Live?
Exactly that.
Oh yeah, the
Paladinians. Yeah.
And there was 2 issues of it, and we read it. And we were like, "What? This isn't the We Live that we knew from the previous 5 or 6 issues. What's going on here?" I'm so intrigued by this that I do want to read issue number 2. It's definitely something I'm going to do, and I'll let you guys. I'll let everybody know what it was like, because issue 1 can't be that. There can't be a comic that's so over complicated.
Reverse psychology. These 3 bad reviews have made me actually want to read it.
That's exactly it, and that's what we say to every comic. Like, we read comics, we give our view. We would love for you guys to go out and pick these comics up and see what you think. Because we all think differently. Quite clearly, we all think different. We all like different comics. So I'm really intrigued. The first issue was so overcomplicated. The artwork was so lovely that I want to see what issue 2 has to offer. So they've got me hooked in for issue number 2, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm really enjoying that. I think Connie is kind of shouting at us this week, because she says this, then she says it again, and then she says it again. And then she says that, and then she says it again. So I can picture her saying, "I don't mind spoilers. Have some time. I'm reading it tomorrow." And she's I don't mind them. Just picture her.
Still waiting for a Chinese and thought bubble.
Tom, what was you going to say about this? I was going
to say, mate, like the premise behind it, the idea behind it sounded so good. And when Andy picked it last week, I was like, I really hope it gets voted for. And I was just really disappointed. But after now listening to your guys' reviews, I wouldn't necessarily want to read issue 2, and I don't think I will. However, if Andy reads issue 2 and says, look, it's worth reading, I would definitely go and reread issue 1 and then 2. If Andy says it's worth it.
It's a little bit like the approach that you guys reviewed last week. So obviously you get, or I would imagine you had to read issue number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And there was the sort of feelings weren't on the level that because I loved issue number 1 and 2. I thought it was fantastic. But I was really interested to hear what you guys thought about that issue, and it made me think about it, and I will take those thoughts going into issue number 3.
Yeah. Because
I was all like, oh, this issue is the next big thing for Boom. And then you guys kind of went, well, actually, hold on a minute, it's not really. So I'm really interested to hear what you guys think, because it sort of sets my tone for the next issue when I read it. But this is going to be a chore, guys. So
what was that comic we read about? Like, what was it? 10,000 blackbirds sitting on a
the 10,000 black feathers.
Right. This was as confusing as that.
Yeah.
I didn't even read issue 2 of that. Did anyone read issue 2 of that one? No. But this is how much of a mind fuck, right? It is, because now we've said this, I'm even listening to my own comments thinking, I want to read number 2.
Yeah,
it's like literally saying, thinking, I've just trashed it, so I won't issue. Never going to read issue 2. If we get picked, I'm not going to read issue 2.
It's FOMO. It's a fear of missing out. No, it's like I'm going to read something. I'm going to go, guys. You're missing out.
Yeah, like this is it. This is it. And Connie's just said, my internet is glitchy because I'm back in Belfast and it's crap here. It's not me telling what comments I posting are. And then she's just decided to shout at me again. And then what's the grey man said? Can a gorilla take a polar bear in a fight though?
That is a great segue and a great topic. Yes, I think it can. I think a gorilla would definitely take a polar bear.
Shall we?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm going to give this a binner because now I've kind of just totally messed with my mind and I kind of want to read number 2 before I judge this, which is really fucking annoying because I don't want to read it, but I'm going to get FOMO and want to read it. So this is annoying. So yeah, this one's going to stay on the Christmas shelf for me. I think. Yeah, Connie is kicking off tonight. She's had too many. She's had too many of them. What is it? Chili shots or whatever it was. Banana shots.
Right. Do you know what I might do, guys? I might take all the big words that I didn't fully understand in this issue and tweet your man Alex, because Alex was kind enough to like our tweets and our Instagram posts. And if Alex does happen to see this, I'm sure he's open to good and bad reviews, but then or constructive and unconstructive views. But Alex, if you want to come on our show and tell us what all those complicated words were, we would love to have you on.
But then is that the sign of a good writer that we've all said the same thing about like how we found this comic hard to read and it was all over the place, but then on the flip side of that, we're like it was potentially that bad that we want to continue reading it?
No, I think it's maybe a sign of a writer who knows too much about his subject matter and doesn't care enough about the reader who's reading it, that doesn't necessarily know all those big words in that subject matter.
Or does he know that what he's writing about is a very niche market, a very niche bunch of people that he's basically weeding out the people that don't give a shit right at the start?
But surely that's going to be 99% of the people who read comics, I would imagine. It's like,
well, yeah, I don't. I won't.
It's not a great business model, put it that way.
Well, do you know what it has done though? It's got us talking for 15 minutes.
That is true.
Again. So you thought we reviewed this comic? You thought.
Wait a minute. Maybe it was all against all comic readers.
Yeah. Maybe it was. Maybe
it's subliminally the gorilla is the writer. And the bearer, the comic book community.
Maybe
you will read the book.
Maybe if you read it with the old green and red 3D glasses on, you might have got a different perspective of it. So anyway, we talked 15 minutes about this comic. Whether it's good, bad, we're going to read it. We're not going to read it. We might review it. Who knows? This comic.
Here we go.
Right. So Do a Powerbomb, issue number 7, written and illustrated by the fantastic Daniel Warren Johnson. There's 3 covers for this, and I think it's been 3 covers for every single issue that's come out. Main cover is by Daniel Warren Johnson. Cover B is by Matthias Bergara, and cover C is the Daniel Warren Johnson Spawn variant cover. If you're not reading, I'm going to start us off by, if you're not reading this comic or you haven't read it yet, or you're waiting for the trade paperback to come out, this for me, straight off the bat, right, is getting that 100 and million %. Like, I don't like that. Is for me, this is by far the best comic of 2022 for me, on so many levels, on an emotional level, on an artistic level, on a writer's level, entertainment level, subject, everything about this comic was sensational. And I'd love to know what you guys think about it, because this has been one comic that we've consistently read. Like we've done, I think there's only been about 3 or 4. We've done this, we've done the Many Deaths of Layla Star, and we've done like Made in Korea. And there's obviously, there might be a few more. I think we've done like Little Monsters and stuff like that. But every single week, even the filler issues of this were fantastic. I mean, I've got so much more to say as we progress with the images of what we've chosen and stuff. But who wants to go next?
I'll go. I 100% agree with you, mate. This is my comic for 2022, and I said it like 3 or 4 issues in. I remember sending you the image, Charlie, back in February when they announced they were doing it, and I was like, "This is going to be fucking awesome." I was like, I haven't read wrestling for a long time or watched wrestling for a long time. I really want us to read this, and then it came up, and I think Andy picked it as one of his indie picks, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. And what a series! What a series! I mean, wow! It's got me back into watching wrestling after talking to you at Thought Bubble. I've started watching it all again. Took me back to like being a kid when you first pick up a comic book. I would say this whole series has been a bit like that. It's been very much just kind of stroking the old, like, you know, what I enjoyed as a kid, you know, big words, big action, gritty artwork. It's ticked all those boxes. But this particular issue, issue 7, had me crying like a baby. I mean, what an issue. What an emotional roller coaster you go on just in this issue. And the grit and determination that the Cuba Sons and what's her name? Is it Layla? That they go through?
No, it's Lorna.
Lorna, that's it.
Yeah.
The emotion they go through as a father and as a father and daughter as they go through is just incredible. And the tagging and the no, you go first. Oh no, I'll protect you, and this kind of thing. It was amazing. You just go on this emotional roller coaster with the two of them through their kind of relationship, and then what happens at the end is so heartwarming, but yet kind of heart wrenching at the same time because they fought so hard to get what they're after. It's just phenomenal on so many levels. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for people because I want them all to go out and read it. I really do. I would just go out and read it. Pick up the trade paperback. I think it's February. It comes out next year. Go out, or maybe January actually. December.
No, I think it's February. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can order it now. Go to your local comic book shop and order it now. It's a trade paperback. They're not doing a hardcover yet, but they are doing a trade paperback. And although it's 7 issues, which I think Connie's referred to in the notes, there is an added extra in the trade paperback. It's a $24 comic or trade paperback because there are original art sketches and original characters that never made it into the book that Daniel Warren Johnson wants to share with everybody. And if you guys aren't signed up to his personal emails that he sends to people, do it, because he offers things like exclusive T-shirts, exclusive beanie hats, badges, stickers, everything to go along with this book. I am not going to lie. I may have bought a Do A Powerbomb T-shirt because I loved it that much. I had to buy a T-shirt. And that for me is it. Like 2022, this is the comic of the year for me, 100%. Andy?
I realised that I hadn't read issue number 6 when I went to read issue number 7. So I kicked off with issue number 6. I actually quickly went through issue number 5 again just to remind myself. I definitely would admit, even though I picked this as like an indie pick, that I wasn't as passionate as you guys were. And I think a lot of that was because, I'll speak for Charlie. He's very into his wrestling. I know, Tom, you're getting back into your wrestling and stuff like that. I used to love wrestling as a kid, watched British wrestling with my dad and watched, you know, the American stuff, probably right up to like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, all those guys, and then sort of faded away from it and get more into UFC and stuff. Martin asked a question. Where is he? There we go. So he was like, not read it. Doesn't matter that I can't stand WWE. The answer to that is, this is probably really got nothing to do. This sounds weird, but this is using wrestling to convey a message. And it's only until you get to the last issue that you realize what that message is. And it's like watching a movie and suddenly the penny drops and the light goes on and you go, oh, that's what it was about. And I think that's the beauty of this. So for me, no, you don't need to have a love for wrestling. You don't even need to like wrestling. And I was probably a little bit like Martin, where I went into this book going, oh, this is going to be about all the wrestling moves and all the people that I have know very little about. And it is all about the wrestling moves. And all the artwork conveys all those moves that you've seen from when you were a kid. And it's absolutely wonderful because it takes nostalgia is what we all love and what we all crave for. We all crave to remind good things about when we were younger, and this definitely does it with using wrestling. But the message that it conveys that life isn't about the story. It's about the journey. It's not about the ending. It's about the journey. It's about the story that each of us as individuals create.
It's so clever,
it was so clever.
Have you ever seen the film Road Trip? Because the bit in Road Trip where I'm on the truck or on the minibus home, and he's like, I'm going to fail my history exam. He's like, right, I'm going to teach you history by using WWE characters. And he teaches him history and stuff. And like you said, it's really clever when people do that kind of thing. So they've taken something, what Darren Warren Johnson has done, like you said, is taken a popular culture thing that most people know about. You don't necessarily have to love it or hate it, but most people know about wrestling. I mean, you'd have to go quite far not to find someone who has heard of or has come across wrestling at some point. So he's used wrestling, like you said, to convey that message of, you know, life's a journey. Do you know what I mean? I think, you know, I just loved it.
The only other book that actually happened to do that was The Many Deaths of Layla Star.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only book where I stopped and went, wow, this is what it's all about. This is what it's trying to tell you. And it's trying to tell you a life lesson. And it's one of those things that you wish that these sorts of books, and I think I said this about Layla Star, this book should be in schools. This should be teaching kids through the things that they love, wrestling, about what life is all about. And I think that the most beautiful thing I thought about this book was the last page, and it was just that thought over the last 7 issues that even when her mum had passed, that she was always in the crowd and she's always watching. And I think that's what got me. That's what nearly brought me to tears, is to think that all the people that you love who have since passed, they're always up there, they're always watching, they're always in the crowd, and just keep making your story. And I just think it's absolutely perfect.
Do you know what? Like I said, so Layla Star was a significant thing for me because I think it came out and I was reading it as the same time as my mum passed away and stuff. So I was kind of reading that, so that was significant. And then this was significant as well because it's my mum's birthday on Saturday, and the fact is that this comic ended on a predominant thing about I'm always watching. I got well emotional about this. I'm not even ashamed to say, I cried my eyes out reading this because I was just like, this is so poignant, and it's 7 issues and it's been building up to this one moment. But throughout the whole issue, you kind of realize that she's been watching her every single step of the way. And it was just so mind blowing. And it was just like the bond between the daughter and the daughter and the dad, and how they've kind of got closer. It was just a fantastic story. And massive kudos to Daniel Warren Johnson for, 1, writing a fantastically emotionally capturing story, and 2, doing this artwork as well. Like this is so time consuming. Like even the detailing of the crowd on the first page there on the left. It's just, and when this comic first came out, I was like, I'm not really a massive fan of the big, pow, wow, and stuff like that. But it really does fit, because when they pull off the suplexes or get the table and chairs over the head and stuff like that, you feel like you're there, and you don't have to be a massive fan of wrestling, because the way that they've done it, they're not throwing stupid words out like the previous comic that we read. They're throwing words out that are easy to understand, and even if you're not a wrestling fan, you know what the wrestling move is, because they're pulling it off as Daniel Warren Johnson is telling you about it. So you're educating yourself about the wrestling moves and the story and the character. It's just, overall, it's a fantastic comic.
It doesn't take itself too seriously as well. That's what I love about it. It's like, when you've got the 2 characters, thank God, at the end, and there's, I think Dan Warren Johnson, he understands that there is a little bit of cheese factor in watching wrestling and stuff like that, and the storylines and all that good stuff, and he hasn't made it super wrestling is this and that, the next thing. Yeah. I would absolutely love to get him
100%
on the Killer Comic Show.
100%.
We need to make that happen for the start of next year, just to maybe even when the trade comes out of this, to just fanboy over this and let him know how much this book means to us. And I would absolutely urge everybody to go out and try and pick this up when it does come out in trade paperback.
Like, he's done some fantastic stuff, and I only really kind of got into it when he did Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Like, Wonder Woman Dead Earth is fantastic, and it's one of my favorite Wonder Woman books I've ever read, because the art is gritty and you kind of see another side to Wonder Woman that no one's used to. Everyone's used to Wonder Woman, like the Gal Gadot portrayal of her in the Justice League, and it's all really clean and it's DC and that's kind of it. The Wonder Woman Dead Earth was DC Black Label, so the boundaries were pushed. He was able to do something. He was able to like do different bits, and it was such an engaging story. And this is just, he's definitely got his market. He's got his way that he likes to write stories and the way he does his art. And I've become, over these 7 issues, I've become a massive fan of him. And his website, he's got some fantastic stuff on there. And there's a really poignant part at the end of this comic where he goes over and says, "This is it. This is the end of it now." And he's kind of like saying like the feedback from it has been more than he ever thought it was going to be. This journey's been more telling and more emotional than he ever thought it was going to be. He thought he was just writing a wrestling book, and it evolved into something more than that. And when a writer and an artist gets that from what they've done, that must be a massive sense of achievement.
Yeah, 100%.
He on his website, he's got access to his Inktober book, like sketchbooks. And I had a quick look at one of them and stuff. So most of his stuff he did during Inktober was emotions, but portrayed as wrestling moves, which is how I think this came about. He's obviously massively into his wrestling, and he's used that as a way of portraying his emotions and his struggles through life and stuff, which I think is really clever. I don't know if you guys noticed 2 things I noticed about this. You know, when you talk about the story and stuff, and how when God gives her back her memories, or tries to say that this is the memory from the other point of view, this whole story, this whole like 7 issues have been about them getting the mum back. When actually, like you said, they never really lost her. She's always been there. And I thought that was an amazing thing to do. Like to say, like, at the end of the day, they may be gone, but they're not gone. They're still with you. So you've never really truly lost anyone.
Yeah, as long as you, I think Layla Star said that, is like, as long as you have the memories, nobody's ever lost or forgotten.
Yeah.
And that page on the right hand side effectively does the exact same thing, where he goes, I'm going to make you have the memory, you haven't lost it, you've just forgotten it. I'm going to make you remind yourself again. And I think that's what we all need to do. Is as hard as things get in life, you just need to remember those memories. I just love it, absolutely superb.
But you know what I liked about it? It was like it was God was basically like, I'm not going to give you false hope. I'm not going to give you something that realistically you can't get back. You can always have memories. You can't bring back a person from the dead. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to have that memory again, and that stays with you, because throughout this journey, you've kind of lost that. You've lost what is actually right in front of you, the memory and stuff. You're trying to fight for something that's not going to come back. But the memories, I just thought it was amazing, if I'm honest.
And guys, this is comics. This is what comics. This is the conversation that a comic is allowing 3 guys who live far away from each other, who log on to StreamYard every Thursday. This is a comic is bringing out these conversations and these emotions in us, and that's why we do this every single Thursday. And hats off to every comic creator out there, because this is the bar that you should be aspiring to give people those emotions when they read a comic, to make them want to go out and get that graphic novel, and to actually take something that they've read in a comic and actually implement that in their day-to-day life. And I think that's what I certainly do, is to remember the memories. And
that's it, 100%.
100%. What I got into comics for. This type of book is what I continue to be in comics for. This is why I like doing this show with you guys, for things like this. These are magical moments, guys. And that's what I love about them. And then I will recommend this book to people who don't even read comic books, who don't even like wrestling. I'll be like, you need to read Do a Powerbomb. It is like an amazing, just as a book, it should be on a shelf in a bookshop, not just a comic book shop. It deserves to be on the shelf in a proper comic book shop. What I was going to say, the second thing I was going to say, did you notice that her outfit is her mum's outfit from issue 1?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Which I thought was an amazing turnaround, like everything's come full circle. I thought that was just incredible. Great touch.
Yeah. I don't really know how we follow this up now. Like, it's just, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read all 7 issues again because I kind of like. It's fantastic. And when a comic can do that and it can engage so much interest, as Martin said, it's a great comic. It's great that a comic can generate such a conversation from you guys. You've sold it to me.
Nice.
Honestly, if this was out now, I'd go and tell you to buy it, and I'd go and tell you to sit down with a whiskey or whatever your favourite tipple is and read it because it's just.
I want the action figures. That's what I want next. I want the. Well,
I was trying to see on his site if you do it, and it doesn't. They've got you've got Do A Powerbomb. I would love to buy the actual belt that you could get. So
you can get a sticker.
you can get a sticker. I'd love the actual belt. I'd love the actual belt with that because that would be fantastic. Strong review. Thank you very much, Mark. We do try. Tim, looking forward to grabbing this in trade paper. Lost track how many series you guys have brought to everyone's attention. We should do like a recap of that. I think we'll be here till next year.
Yeah.
This will be a great trade paper. And from what Daniel has posted on his Instagram, I think there's going to be quite a lot of extras, as Tom said, thrown in at the back of the book because I know there's characters that weren't used. I know there was variant covers that weren't used. I know there was sketches and interpretations of everything and wrestling and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. And I'm even going to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up in trade paperback. And if they do a hardcover, I'm picking it up as well.
Same, mate. I mean, did you read what I think it might have been on Instagram that he's mentioned that all the other matches that you haven't seen, he's drawn them.
He's done, he's done them.
They will be in the trade paperback or the hardcover. So he's going to release those, and that'll be exclusive for that book in particular, which I just think is amazing.
Yeah.
Service announcement: please don't bring out a volume 2.
No, it doesn't. It don't need it. No, it doesn't.
That's it. It's done.
I would like to see it as a movie though, or a TV show.
Animation would be cool.
So, just to top it off, it was All Against All, which was neither here nor there, but this one sees out the year correctly. It was an absolute killer. So, well done, Daniel Warren Johnson, for that one. So, up next, we've got Andy's killer indie pick. Take it down a notch.
I was going to say it's all downhill from here, guys.
That's it. Sit back, girl.
So this is my killer indie pick where I want to remind you that we did have Do A Powerbomb and we also had All Against All, so take that as you will. But next week we have Red Winter Fallout being released. This is through Scout Comics and it's by Michael Gordon and artwork is by Alberto Masagia. Now the reason I picked this one is because on the right hand side you'll see the original Red Winter series, which was a 4-issue series. Now this is gone back quite a bit. I picked this up from my LCS, and I think Michael might be actually local to Ireland. I'm not 100% sure.
That's where I knew it from. That's where I knew I'd seen this before, and I just didn't know. So is this arc number 2 because it's called Red Winter Fallout?
Yeah, this is like the second volume of it. And I'll be completely honest with you guys, full transparency. I had no idea this was even out or coming out. Until I had looked up to do a slide for the show. So I don't know how it got past my radar. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm glad that I've picked it up and I've said to my LCS to put it away from me. So the synopsis reads: the last time we saw Joseph Winter, he was fleeing the scene of a massacre at the Moscow oil refinery, which decimated the ranks of Patonia's rival gangs and left his father early dead. Now Joseph is on his own, desperate to find a way out of a city that seems hell-bent on killing him. Vasily Adrapov, these names, is out for blood, and the Moscow police force is closing in too. But then help comes from an unlikely source. At the same time, local detective Max Voronin is assigned the refinery case, all while an American agent is tasked with doing whatever it takes to keep a lid on what really has happened. So it's got that sort of espionage, sort of 007 type vibes about it. I really enjoyed the first volume of it. I'd highly recommend people go pick it up, and I'll definitely be checking out the.
So is it the same? Is it the same main character as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. See, I knew I can't remember if I read the first issue, like the first arc of this, but when you put this, I was like, I know I've seen this before, and I'm interested to read it. Like I'm looking forward to it. Like the whole espionage, Russian and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's got those vibes. But yeah, definitely go and check that out. It's Scout Comics. I don't know how many copies will be sitting on their LCS's table, but you've got the number there and stuff like that if you want to go and get it ordered and stuff. So,
do you read that number out?
Sure, for you, Big Rig, I will do anything. It's no. So next up,
no.
Next up, guys. I'm doing a 2-for-1 this week. I hope you guys don't mind, and I hope the people that are watching don't mind. But whenever I'm looking up Previews World, the website, I always take a little bit look at the toys and all that sort of stuff. And there was one toy that caught my eye, and it was this. This is a Mandalorian Ahsoka Tano ArtFX statue. This is by Kota Bukaya.
I first saw this slide pop up in our slide share thing, I literally thought, why is he showing photographs? And I thought, hold on a minute, that's a photograph of a statue. That's incredible.
Mate, honestly, now, this was on FOC last week, so I'd missed the FOC on this. But I don't think this will be a hard thing to pick up. So your LCS, if you give them the code, which you can read there, I won't read it. They will be able to order that up for you. This isn't actually in shops until mid 2023. So it got a bit of a wait for this, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it. News
just in. Triple G has just pre-ordered 7 of them, just because that's what he does.
No, he goes for the big boys. He goes for the expensive ones. But to be honest with you, like, this is $130. This bad boy, which isn't too bad. And the quality, I can speak for the quality. I've got a few Star Wars ones above me here. It is really fantastic. Now, what I would say for this is a 1/10 scale figure. I think a lot of the ones that Peter and Ben and stuff like that collect a 1/6 scale. So this is obviously going to be slightly smaller. But yeah, you can see there, if this is obviously a prototype, I think, that they're showing at the moment. But if it's anything to go by, this is going to look absolutely fantastic on display on your shelf. So I'm going to pre-order it, and I thought that people that are watching might be interested in it too. What do you guys think?
I'd be interested to have a look at what craftsmanship Kota Bukaya more that they do, because I didn't even know that they was like a toy distributing company. I'd definitely look into that.
Mate, they've got so many licenses; it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
they've done some absolutely incredible stuff. They're one of the, I would say, probably with their statues are probably on par, if not better, than McFarlane Toys, because they've got some of the best head sculptors in the business. Yeah, and then some of the metal that they create, they can somehow they paint the metal; it actually looks like metal. And I believe it might be one of their they did it from what's the name of the program? Something Evangelion Genesis. They did the robot from that, and it's pink, it's purple and green, and it's all metal. But to touch it, it feels like metal, but it's not metal at all. It's PVC statue, which is incredible. I mean, that's just.
Do you know what I'm trying to do? This is something I would love to own. And after having Pete on the show last week and looking at his giant bloody Hulkbuster, his giant Hulkbuster figure.
He's what?
It was the pause. It's like I was looking at his giant
Hulkbuster.
Hulkbuster.
I need to stay away from them because I would get so addicted to collecting them. Like it's just, and I can just see myself going down a rabbit hole because Andy is the king of rabbit holes. And he just wants to get us in there and stuff. And I could just see myself doing this, and I don't want to. But it's only a matter of time.
You want to get in Andy's hole? Did you just say
rabbit hole?
Listen,
yes.
Moving on. Listen, guys. There's nothing better than I was going to say my hole, but that sounds disgusting. There's nothing better than getting a first appearance comic, whether it be slabbed or in a top loader, and just have it sitting next to one of these statues and an action figure or something like that. I think those display really, really well. So. This might be something that we bring every week to pick a.
Because you got a really good commission done, didn't you?
I did. It's just over there, of Ahsoka Tano, and that's actually one of the reasons why this caught my eye, because I was thinking this would look fantastic next to it. So
that's it. Yeah. That's it. Wait, but you've done some fantastic. Yeah, I like the toy pick. I do like the toy pick.
Thank you.
Why not? Why not?
Nice,
great stuff. So, Thomas.
Yes, mate.
Killer Comic Show, Killer Picks. What have you gone for this week? We've had computer games. We've had TV shows. We've had what else have we had? We've had video games. We've had everything. What have you gone for this week? I think you've gone back to a heritage, you know?
I have, mate. I have indeed. So this week I have gone back to recommend to you guys, because me and my wife are rewatching the entirety of Vikings. Hence the Valhalla la 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 Christmas jumper. Now, it is historically correct for the first series and possibly through the second series because it is written and directed by Michael Hurst, who is from the History Channel. So those first few series are all real and are actually historically correct. Then you kind of get into series 4, 5, and 6 where they kind of play around with history a little bit. But it essentially follows the Viking legend of Ragnar Lothbrok and the poem that was written about Ragnar Lothbrok and his kind of story and his children and how they became very famous and how he was the most famous Viking until his son took over from him. So it's following that. But it's a great series, guys. I mean, series 1, if you watch it now, it's very dated. I would say it's dated compared to what you can see on the TV now. But if you stick with it, the character development, the story development, the way you get invested in the characters is just something you don't get much of in the new TV series. I realized that Volume 1 is not called Godhead and it's not 10.99. So excuse me on the slides. I should have really removed all of that. But this is available on Prime now for you to watch series 1 to issue 6, series 6. So yeah, well worth it, I would say.
See, I didn't know this was available as a comic. I really didn't.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm literally like, after you sent the slide through, I kind of Googled it and was like, well, what is it? So yeah, Volume 1, Godhead, and then it's Volume 2, Uprising, but then there's like an Uprising number 2 and stuff. Yeah. I'm a massive fan of the show, and I think when it broke, in like I think the season 4, whatever it was, finished, I couldn't get back into it because I kind of ended up watching something else and couldn't remember where I got up to. So I think I'm going to have to do what you did and just watch it all again, because the what is it, the bond between Ragnar Lothbrok and his brother Rollo.
Yes,
it's
phenomenal.
It's fantastic, and like some of the acting is amazing, and like they must have gone to some end of the earth to like get some of these scenes shot and stuff like that. It's a fantastic show, fantastic.
Travis Fimmel really makes Ragnar Lothbrok his own. He's just absolutely incredible. I mean, I think I personally probably would say the same thing as you, Charlie. I think if you get to season 4, end season 4, that is a good point to end Vikings, because you kind of end a chapter of a life at that point. And then from series 5 and 6 is about other characters. It expands on other characters. So it's worth it for that. But this first 4 series are just writing phenomenal. Like there's so many good parts in the first 4 series. There's a bit where they go to France, and the tactics that Ragnar uses to get into France is just phenomenal. Well worth watching that episode alone. But yeah, couldn't recommend it more. And obviously, because it's Christmas, hopefully you're all going to get time off at Christmas. What not better than to sit and to binge watch a TV show?
Andy, have you watched this?
I haven't. I have not. I vaguely remember having a comic of it. I don't know if I sent it to you, Tom, or
I got mine from Hobgoblin. It's a Titans comic one.
Yeah, I definitely did have Vikings comics somewhere, but I've never watched the show. I know that my wife enjoys watching it, but no, it's not something that But as you say, it's going to be plenty of chill out time during Christmas and New Year, so I'll definitely have a watch of season 1.
Boom. Yeah, this is it's wicked. I would definitely, if you ain't read it already, people in the chat, if you ain't read it, if you ain't watched it, it's Christmas, crack on.
Binge it. And if you didn't like it, let me know, because I would love to hear everyone else's opinion on it. Like it, dislike it, indifferent. We'd love to hear about it.
And Tom, is volume 1 of your book called Godhead?
Volume 1 of my book is called Godhead.
I nearly misspelled that and put Goodhead, but I didn't.
I'd have put Goodhead.
That's volume 2.
That's volume 2. And what's Connie saying? So she's shouting.
Volume 3 is Uprising. Oh, stop.
Connie said, I'm not a big TV person, but this is one people are always recommending. Yeah, it's quality. It is. And again, you don't really have to be into that mythology of like Vikings and stuff like that. You can just get into it. It's an easy watch. Gory.
Some great series. There's some absolutely corking moments. There's a little bit where, like, obviously they come to England and the Norse don't speak English and the English don't speak Norse, but yet they're doing everything in English. Yeah. So it's really interesting. Like Ragnar's talking to someone and they can't understand each other, and then he just says, like, "I really hate you. I just really hate you," and then headbutts him. It's amazing. Love it.
Here's wicked. So yes, there's that. And what's before we move on, Leon Russell says used to work with a girl that was freaked out by Vikings, not because of the violence, but because her cousin was in it, and apparently his dick and balls were too.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of that too. Yeah.
His dick and balls were in her or in Vikings?
Oh wow!
Oh,
see you, Andy.
Andy's gone. No, he's back in. But yeah, no, yeah. So definitely get into that. Like that woman was with her cousin. So definitely get into that. So
get into that.
So we've been discussing quite a few topics. It's been quite a lengthy process, like quite a lengthy chat, right? This is time for the topic table chat, right? We literally decided what we was going to talk about a few hours ago. What are we talking about, Andy?
Superman.
So what's that, mate?
Superman.
I still can't hear you.
Superman.
We are talking about, the big talk is, right, so about 4 weeks ago, Henry Cavill, in October actually, put a post out saying, yes, just letting you all know that I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to be reprising my role of Superman, the Man of Steel. Really looking forward to it. Then out of the blue, obviously the big hoo-ha, James Gunn's now taken over and he's writing the majority of the new DC stories coming out and everything like that. They now have said that Henry Cavill isn't going to be Superman anymore. They're writing a whole different arc about Superman's early life and he's not needed.
And I'll tell you what, I couldn't care less. Superman is the worst superhero in all of comics, whether it be Marvel, DC, or otherwise. I couldn't care less what Henry Cavill's doing, and I couldn't care less what Superman's doing. But in saying that, if anybody wants to buy some of my Superman comics, just slide into my DMs because they're for sale. Tom, what did you think?
I was gutted. I really liked Henry Cavill in Man of Steel. I thought it was an amazing movie. Superman, Batman bored the tits off me. Justice League, I could have binned it, hated it. But Man of Steel, I thought was a really good movie. And I really liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I would personally say he'd be my Superman, even though Christopher Reeves was the one I grew up with. And obviously I liked Smallville. Smallville was pretty good. So is it Tom Welling that plays him in Superman? So I like that version of Superman. Probably that's why I like Henry Cavill as Superman, because him and Tom Welling are very similar looking. So I was really gutted. I mean, I got really excited, and I found out that the only part of Black Adam that is worth watching is the end. When
Don't
Henry
say
Cavill...
no. I haven't seen it yet, so do not go there. Don't go there.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Oh, go there. Spoil it.
Sorry, I will shut up. Anyway, so there's one bit that happens that's the best part of the movie, blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of gutted that they've now taken it away from him, because I think he was gutted to be dropped the first time.
Yeah.
And he was told, I'm coming back. Then to get dropped a second time, I'm kind of gutted for him. But I do see why James Gunn's done it. Because imagine coming in and kind of like, imagine you came into a comic book shop and someone had thrown all the comic books everywhere. And they were like, right, there you go, sort that lot out. The first thing you would do is probably, pile them all up and be like, right, that's a load of trash. That can
Tom,
go.
The first thing I would do is I would check, and if all those comics that were on the floor were Superman comics, I would fully understand why that person threw them on the floor. Sorry, go on.
But you know what I mean? Like, you would tidy it up a little bit, and you'd be like, right, that doesn't work anymore. So I'm gonna those books are sellable. I'll get rid of those. Those books are sellable. I'll get rid of those. And unfortunately, he's gone into DC, and they've just got trash everywhere. And he's probably gone, right, you know what? Just gonna throw it all out and start again, because I think that's the only way to save it.
I think they should do that with the comics, though. I think they need an overhaul of the comics as well, and I think Marvel needs to do the same as well.
Yeah, Superman Marvel did that before. Wait a minute, did they not do that with DC, and rebooted everything over and over and over again?
So DC have done, what is it? Let me see how far I can remember to go back. So you'd got Crisis on Infinity Earths first, as far as I know. Then it was the New 52. Then followed by Rebirth.
Yeah.
Then followed by whatever it is now. What is now? What's it currently on? Don't know. Something now. And then obviously Death Metal happened. That kind of reset the universe.
And Future State.
Future State. That's it. That was one I was thinking of.
Was it like Infinite Frontier or something like that as well?
That's currently happening, isn't it?
It was. I think the whole thing with Superman. He's, other than Christopher Reeve, he's the only one that I've kind of really enjoyed. Other than there's been Christopher Reeve, Smallville, Tom Welling, and then Henry Cavill. But I think it's going to get to the point where people are going to be like, Superman, what? Like, Andy's already there. Superman's like, whatever, mate. Like, whatever.
I must admit though, Peter's made a good point. He has said that. Have you read all of Superman? No, but I have read Kingdom Come, and I think that's largely what Gunn is going to base his DC world on, because from what I understand, the plan is that it's going to be one world, and whether it's a movie, whether it's a comic, whether it's a cartoon, it's all going to impact and affect each of the worlds. Which I think is a cool idea. But I think the fact that they've got James Gunn doing this is that it needs to be out with the old, because all these actors cost a fortune and they're not getting any younger anymore. And I think what James Gunn does really, really well, look at Guardians of the Galaxy. If you can make those characters work, then imagine what you could do with some of those DC characters. Lobo. Just do a Lobo movie and that will be it.
I think what will happen, and this is probably the most exciting part about James Gunn taking over, is you're going to end up with characters that people have never heard of unless you've read the comics, and they're going to be like, "Oh my god, this character's amazing!" Like, yeah, well, I knew about him years ago because he was in the book or she was in the book. Do you know what I mean? I think he's going to bring characters that I've not really seen much of the light of day, like the Guardians, bring them to the forefront, like he did with Suicide Squad. To be fair,
but hasn't Darren said Wonder Woman and Ezra Flash need caning as well. Haven't they? They've got rid of Gal Gadot. They've said she's not going to be Wonder Woman anymore. And I think it's just out with the old in with the new. And I think it goes back to what Andy said. They're not getting any younger. And I think with this whole Kingdom Come thing, it's basically it's press the reset button and it's go again. And I think, I get that. I think it's good. But I think the way that they dropped Henry Cavill twice, like they would have known that he weren't going to play it in October, but they've kind of let him do it. Then they've dropped over, and then James Gunn's come in and gone, actually, mate, do you know what? We've had a really positive meeting, but don't let the door hit you on the way out. Put your post out. And he put a really diplomatic post out. Like, oh, well, I was told he was going to do it.
He has to, because that was effectively CV for Marvel.
Yeah.
That was telling Kevin Feige, Kevin, come and get me. And I will play one of your superheroes for you.
Mate, if he rocks up now as Captain Britain, fucking fair play.
Mate, I actually wouldn't put it past Kevin Feige to do stuff like that. And I think people would watch just to see what it was like. But I think at the end of the day, James Gunn is put he's put his flag in the ground and he said, look, this is my DC. This is what I'm going to do. It's clear that the DC before wasn't working. And I think if you weren't already specking on DC books, you better be quick, because DC first appearances, even second appearances, are relatively cheap compared to the Marvel market at the minute. So that's what you should be trying to pick up before James Gunn gets his hands on it.
And definitely the obscure characters, massively the obscure ones.
If there was a Lobo, I'm still surprised that Lobo hasn't had anything done yet.
He will.
He's fantastic, and I definitely think he's in the works.
Yes, I think if anybody could do Lobo, it would be James Gunn. And I think Lobo is what Deadpool is to Marvel.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah, Darren's just said Peacemaker, the only thing of note that they have that's current. But again, Peacemaker wasn't a character that everyone really knew about unless you read the comics. And so James Gunn bringing that to exactly, King Shark.
I mean, look. I had no idea about King. Well, I've read about him in the Aquaman books every now and then. But like what James Gunn did with King Shark, he had like 2 or 3 dialogue moments, and then he became this standout character and rat catcher as well in that film. I mean, amazing film to be fair.
That was a great conversation.
It was.
I'm all for Superman, but then, like Connie said, the DCCU has never interested me, and honestly, the future of it doesn't excite me either. So there's going to be a lot of people like Connie that are like, whatever, like, so what, Superman, whatever, etc., etc. And then you got ABZ Comics. It's got 2 comics of Omega Men in 9.6 here.
but the interesting thing is that that whole story broke about Superman and about James Gunn coming in to effectively rescue DC.
Yeah.
But then they dropped the Spider-Verse trailer.
Yeah.
And that just, Marvel just sits back, just waits for its moment and just goes, here, there we go. And Miles Morales is probably the biggest thing that I think Marvel has in its back pocket.
100%.
And if that's done correctly, wow.
And I think Marvel know that as well. They're kind of sitting back with their popcorn, looking at going, DC self-imploding. We'll just let me just push this out right about now, because all the focus would have been on that. All the focus would have been on that trailer last night.
Yeah, 100%. And did you see? Like, it looks absolutely fantastic. And Into the Spider-Verse is probably my favorite Marvel and DC or any comic movie.
Yeah, I'd agree
by far.
Although I'm with Darren on this, so long as there's more Teen Titans Go cartoon, that's fine by me. I absolutely love Teen Titans Go. My boys are into it. They watch it morning, noon, and night, and it's fantastic. Absolutely.
But if James Gunn was smart, that's the characters that are in Teen Titans Go that he would bring into the cinematic universe, because that's what they need. They need somebody that the younger generation can relate to, just as the younger generation relate to Miles Morales, because that's their Spider-Man.
Yeah,
they'll relate to the likes of Raven and all the, and Nightwing and stuff like that.
Starfire. But like, you've got Teen Titans Go, which my kids watch, but then I watch Titans as well, which is fantastic. Like again, that's Starfire, that's Nightwing, it's Robin, it's Raven. It's like, it's wicked, but it's so gory and stuff like that. It's wicked. So
it's got such a good history.
Good, well, do you know what I mean? And you got like Superboy and stuff like that. It's wicked, and the whole way they tell the story about like Lex Luthor and Superman, like where their genes combined created super. It's wicked. The Crypto's even in it. Do you know what I mean? It's quality. So I think DC, there's a lot to live up to, and I think if it's done right, James Gunn at the helm could do it, but it's got to be done right. It has to be done right.
It can't be done much worse, I don't think, at this point. So
not at all. So that's that. The topic table: bish, bash, bosh. Another one down. And thanks massively again, Tom, because these characters are. I think these characters are going to be seeing a lot more of Instagram and Facebook and socials and stuff like that, because they're fantastic.
Oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Wicked. So there we go. It's the Killer Comic Show sneak peek for next week. But before we do, let's have a quick look at the scores on the doors. So we've got Charlie in third with 11%. We've got Andy in second place with 37%, and we've got Tom, who's actually run away with it this week, at 52% of the votes.
Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas.
There we go. Tra-la-la-la-la, Valhalla. There we go.
Handsome, big muscles, and he wins Killer Cover of the Week. I mean, what has this guy not got?
Do you know what I mean? Do you absolutely know what I mean? So yeah, the Killer Comic Show sneak peek for next week.
I'll be the next Superman.
Go for it. We have Andy. What did you go for?
I went for a Vicious Circle. Issue number 1 by Boom Studios, and it's the director Mattson Tomlin that's sort of teamed up with Lee Bermejo to do this particular series. So I think it's going to be fantastic, and this is my pick.
Tom, what have you gone for?
Well, seeing as it's won me cover of the week, I've gone for Batman and Spawn.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Have been for a while. However, I've read a few mixed reviews about it today, so I'm not as keen as I was originally when I picked it.
See, I'm looking forward to reading this, but yeah, again in the chat, people are saying it's a bit of a weird story. So I was kind of like, well, all right. I've gone for Danger Street 1, which is basically it's the Justice League. If you went to join the Justice League and it took a sinister turn, how would it turn out? So, and it's DC Black Label as well, and I quite like my DC Black Labels because they kind of push the boundaries and kind of like all touchy subjects and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And it says, once upon a time in a far off kingdom. So that could be quite good because I like the DC DC versus vampires and stuff like that. I think that's kind of going down that route. And then obviously Grimm issue number 6, and I kind of purposely put that there because I knew that Andy wouldn't have been up to date for it, and I love just throwing a little curveball in there that if this gets picked, Andy has to read 5 issues.
Love it.
Love you too, Charlie. Love you too.
So, I'm just getting you back because you absolutely slated my comic cover pick.
That's true, and so did the audience, by the looks of things, with that 11%. But no, if I was picking two comics for what it's worth, it'd be A Vicious Circle and Danger Street. I think those two look like really good reads. No disrespect to your winning cover, Tom.
No, fair play.
So that them votes will be up at 11 o'clock tonight. So you can place your votes and get them in, and then we can get them all read, and we can give our fantastic reviews next week. So that's that. So then on to the scoreboard this week, and I think we already know that Tom, your last win was 8 Billion Genies issue number 4,
which was like a million years ago.
2001.
But it was with a Superman homage.
It was, believe it or not. So both times we've talked about Superman, I've won.
You have. What a shame. Can't believe that.
What a shame.
Can I just point? Can I point out something? Like, if next week is our last show for this year, and I'm 2 ahead, should I just start celebrating now, or are we just going to play it out?
Well, no. Next week, whoever wins next week gets 3 wins. 3. So Andy's just now logging on to 27 computers to make sure that his bots are all running at the same time. But yeah, Tom,
between the two of you, winner takes all next week.
But what is it to take?
No,
we don't win.
Why should we do that? No, that's not a really bad idea. But all kidding aside, look at how good those covers are that everybody picked. I think it's been a stellar year for cover picks. As well as doing our reviews next week, Charlie and Tom, we might do a little bit of a sort of retrospective look back to
yeah.
Sound okay? Cool. Yeah. Sweet.
So what else have we got? What is the other slide? Oh yeah, we've got our socials every Friday. If people are still listening to the podcast and you want to hear our dulcet tones, you can head over there every Friday at 10 a.m. or you could just sit back. And did you know that you can now watch a podcast on Spotify?
I did, but randomly. I don't know how I found that. I think it's because I watched the rugby one.
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and it had Erica Thompson on, who's like the bee lady. I'm massively into my bees. And it was literally a 2-hour podcast of how she got into bees and how she's a beekeeper and saves everything. And I was on the bus and I flipped it around and I ended up watching the podcast. But then you could watch the same show on YouTube. So I don't quite know how that crosses over. Like, if you can watch it on YouTube and podcast, why would you watch it on Spotify?
I don't think you can watch all of Joe Rogan's stuff. I think it's only little snippets that you can watch on YouTube.
Right, okay.
Because whenever he moved over and got that big £100 million deal, I think he moved everything over.
Oh. But yeah, so this is every Friday. You can listen to us on Deezer, Spotify and iTunes. And then we also have our Twitter, our Instagram, and also other socials. So hit us all up there. You can hit us all up there. We've got a Killer Comic Show one. We've got Andy's like the king of Twitter, that gets like remarks and posts, retweets from the likes of J. Scott Campbell, for instance.
That was a nice one. Yeah. I've never seen Tom go and message so quickly going, oh, J. Scott Campbell liked our stuff. No. Can I just take a minute to point out that we're really close to 800 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We don't normally try to over promote. Like, if anybody wants to subscribe, they can. If they don't, that's great. But it'd be nice to try and get to 800 subscribers. I'm going to push for the end of the year. We've got 15, 16 days to the end of the year.
Yeah.
But we need everybody's help for it. So anybody that's in the live or is going to watch the rewind, we'd really appreciate if you let everybody know that's on your socials about the channel and try and get us to that 800. That would be amazing.
That would be great. So, Andy, did you? We got a giveaway to do because you started it.
Yeah.
So if I just literally share the screen. Now, we tried to do it with StreamYard. So with StreamYard, you kind of have to, for the StreamYard one to work, you have to start StreamYard in the giveaway app. So you have to put the name of the show and then you have to put the subtext of what the giveaway is and stuff like that. But we've got 13 entries. So we've got
the giveaway.
That is the giveaway. Yep.
This is a giveaway. This is a giveaway. This is a giveaway.
This is the giveaway. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll stick some comics in there as well and anything else that's kicking about. And I think we'll try and do this UK based. Sorry to anybody who's not in the UK, but unless you want to pay the postage, then let me know. But as I say, spin that wheel, Charlie. Spin that wheel.
Yeah, we've got 13. We've got the Poptimus, Hobgoblin, Leon Russell, Phil's Nerdiverse, Connie Dalton, Martin Simcox, Dean McDonald, Mark Oldwood, Greyman, Triple G, Comic Lad Simon, The Comic Room, and ABZ Comics. I am literally just going to shuffle it up 1, 2, 3 times, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 7 because Powerbomb was 7 issues. There we go. And I'm going to spin it right now.
Drum roll, please.
And the winner is Mark Oldwood.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Nice one, Mark. So I guess, yeah, if you drop Andy a message, he will send it out.
Slide into my DMs, and I will try and get that out in the post tomorrow, which hopefully should be with you before Santa Claus comes.
What, Santa Claus comes next year or this year with the way that Royal Mail have been?
That's true. That is very, very true. But no, congratulations, and thanks to everybody that has been in the chat live, and thanks to everybody that watches on the rewind. We really appreciate it.
We do indeed, and we've also I just want to give another shout out quickly to everyone to head over and watch. I don't know why it's not adding to the stream, but the Hobgoblins Hideaway on Saturday. I don't know if for some reason it's not working. It won't let me add it to the stream. Can you do it, Andy?
Let me just have a look 1 second.
It's not working for me. There we go. So yes, everyone who's in the chat, if you're joining late or watching the rewind, this is where you need to be at on December the 18th at 8 o'clock. More chaotic than a drunken.
Wow.
Someone's upset him.
Jesus. Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing and a bad thing, but as he's left, he's taken all the slides as well.
Yeah, so, but as Charlie was saying, you can go on to VOT and watch the Hobgoblins Hideaway on the 18th of December. And then there's also the Facebook claim on the 30th of December. And they are basically going out without going out.
There we go. Technology. Absolutely. My internet just dropped out. It can't keep up with you, Tom. It can't keep up with you, mate. But yeah, these two obviously said what I was going to say, but it's been fantastic. It's another Thursday down. Thank you to everyone that was in the chat that engaged with us. Well done to Mark for winning a nice little impromptu giveaway. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll kind of have the normal show and we'll do a recap of everything. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have something else lined up for you as well, but why not? Merry Christmas, guys, and we'll see you next week. And Thomas, as we always say,
stay safe. Merry Christmas. Stay sexy.
Oh, that was a new one.